1-2 sums and differences. When you are working with simplifying, you want to use your rules for addition and rules for subtraction. If we look at example 1, we have negative 14 plus 9 plus negative 12 plus 20 plus negative 8. We can just go from left to right and subtract or add these numbers, or we can group these numbers based off of their signs or what will make things easier for us. It's totally up to you, whatever you find easier. Okay, so I feel as if the negative 12 and the negative 8 is going to be easier to add because they give me a multiple of 10. So I'm going to do that. Negative 12 plus negative 8 is going to give me negative 20. So I have a negative 20 minus 14 plus 9 plus 20 now. So that negative 20 plus 20 actually cancels out. So the only thing I have to work with now is the negative 14 and the 9. If I do negative 14 plus 9, the sign in front of my larger number is negative, so I'm going to keep it, and then subtract the two numbers, so I'm going to get negative 5. If we look at example 2, we have negative 7 plus negative 8. Two negatives next to each other turn into a positive, so this becomes negative 7 plus 8. We have opposites here, so we're going to keep the sign in front of the larger number, which is the 8, so which is positive, and subtract the two numbers, so our answer is going to be positive 1. You can also rearrange these numbers to be 8 minus 7, which might make it easier for you as well. For B, we have negative 7 minus 8, so we can separate this and make it as an addition problem, so negative 7 plus negative 8. Our signs are the same, so we're going to keep the sign and add the two numbers. 7 plus 8, keep it negative. 7 plus 8 is 15, so negative 15 is our answer. For C, we have 7 minus negative 8. So again, those two negatives next to each other turn into a positive or a plus, giving us 7 plus 8, which gives us 15. Oops, we got D2. So for D, we have 7 minus 8, so we can rewrite this. 7 plus negative 8. 7 plus negative 8, you have two different signs. The sign in front of the larger number, which is the 8, is negative, and then subtract the 2, so negative 1. Now we can move on to example 3. For example 3, we have 10 minus 8 minus 15 plus 6. So I would like to use addition for this, so I'm going to turn it into addition if I need to. I can start moving from left to right. I have 10 minus 8, which automatically is 2, minus 15 plus 6. If I do the 2 minus 15, that's going to give me a negative 13 plus 6. I have two different signs. I'm going to keep the sign in front of the larger number, which is the 13, and it's negative. Then I subtract the two numbers. 13 minus 6 gives me a negative 7. For example 4, I now have absolute value, which is like what we went over in 1.1. So within our absolute value, we're going to use our order of operations. We're going to simplify those expressions inside those absolute value bars, and then take the absolute value of our solution with them. So once we do that, remember the absolute value is the distance between that number and 0 on the number line. So we're going to do first what's inside those absolute value bars. So with the first one, we have the absolute value of 14 minus 5. 14 minus 5 is 9. So that gives us the absolute value of 9 minus the absolute value of 5 minus 19. 5 minus 19 is going to give us negative 14. So the absolute value of 9 is 9. Minus the absolute value of negative 14 is a positive 14. So we have 9 minus 14, or 9 plus negative 14, if that makes it easier for you. For 9 plus negative 14, the 14 has a negative out in front of it, which the 14 is the larger number out of the two, so our answer is going to be negative. And then we have 14 minus 9, that gives us 5, so our answer is negative 5. For our next example, we are actually going to use order of operations here. If we can simplify inside those parentheses, we will do so. If not, we will just distribute. So if we look at example 5, we have 3 times 4x squared minus 9. The 4x squared is going to stay the 4x squared minus 9 is going to stay the 4x squared minus 9 because they're not like terms, so you cannot simplify that. So you're going to distribute in that 3. So we're going to do 3 times 4x squared, which gives us 12x squared, minus 3 times 9, which is negative 27. So 12x squared minus 27 is our answer. Oops. For example 6, they give us 4y plus 2 times 6y minus 5. We're going to distribute that 2 in because we cannot simplify the 6y minus 5 any further. And this is going to give us 4y plus 12y minus 10. The 4y and the 12y are like terms, so we can combine those to get 16y minus 10.